So, guys, usually during this time, I don't like to put anything out, but I'm going to start doing that. I think by now we already know there are people talking. We already know pretty much how it works. And at this point, I feel like they're still able to do things. If we can keep listening, maybe someone will hear something that I can't hear. Part of what I think they did with this, and I'm not in my bedroom right now, I just wanted to let you guys hear how it sounds in different places. Part of what I think they did was they have one voice part that is for me. So I would be the one arguing with it. But below that, like a lower level, there's another voice. But then I think there's an even lower level. So I think they did something, and somebody who's an expert in this could probably explain this for me. I think they did something so that one level of sound, which sounds, obviously you can hear clearly, would be me. The next level of sound that you wouldn't hear as clearly would be them talking about me. The lower below that would be them talking about other stuff. So if I'm thinking about this the way I think it works, if we could just hear them throughout the day, somebody can probably understand this and catch something that I can't catch how it's done, catch a sound. I used to do this and ask other targeted individuals who get V2K, what did you hear? And I noticed that some people have been putting up what they're hearing. And I'm trying to match, are we hearing the same things? So they don't hear it about me, but they say that they hear things similar. So is it that they write scripts and other targeted individuals hear the same accusations? Someone once wrote that they say the same things to all of us to get us upset. But then the below that sound, when it's not about us, do they hear the same things? Do other people hear something different? So I'm going, somebody was talking about that maybe they're communicating with each other. I think it's not that, because it wouldn't make a lot of sense to me. What would make a lot of sense to me is that they use intelligence, surveillance intelligence, and target people, and the people around the people who help them hear the lower levels that we don't hear. So I just hear like Shamika did this and Shamika blah, blah, blah. And when I sometimes catch something else, it's about a celebrity usually. Well, the truth is, I wouldn't know if it's a regular person. I would think it's about a celebrity, because if you say the celebrity's name, I would recognize it. But if it's just about a regular person, it wouldn't make sense to me. So I think they use different levels, volumes of sound. So when I was talking to you about how when I ask other targeted individuals what they hear, sometimes they do hear threats. And they're in different places. So it's like, oh, you heard a threat today, so did I. So today, I noticed they are upset. So I'm paying attention to their emotional state by not using a computer voice and using human voices. And I can tell the human is upset. I want to know why. So the way I'm going to do it from now on is I'm not going to worry about the set times. And when I think they might do something, I'm just going to put it out. Because either A, I can catch them, or someone can catch them, or the people doing this will stop this. It's ridiculous at this point. The other point is when they're making all these suggestions and they don't want to take responsibility for their suggestions, the fact that they have technology to make these suggestions should be exposed. The existence of this technology has to be exposed. When in 2002, I listened to politics. I had no idea of psychotronic weapons, which are these types of weapons that can affect you psychologically, your brain, your nervous system. Electromagnetic, no idea about that. Now we hear a lot of it now because of Wi-Fi. Had no idea about it. Sonic weapons. Okay, you kind of think of sound, but again, this is using that same type of technology. Lasers. Well, when I thought of a laser, I thought of like light lasers, not sound lasers, lasers that can produce sound and that can also harm you. So all of these things that we're finding out now are things that the people have been using on me. I have proof of that. And what I want to do now is make sure that every single American, especially, and anyone around the world, I think they know more about it than we do in America. When this first started, the majority of people talking about this were not in this country. They were in the UK. So they were in England. Then they were in, I'm trying to remember who, was really involved in this. They were in England. They were in Canada. They were in Australia, South Africa. Where else? I don't remember where else, but those were the ones talking about this from the beginning. So as soon as I started posting that I'm going through this, those are the people talking about it. Not a lot of Americans. I think most of Americans, we were like, what is this? What's going on? So when they're saying that this was always being done here, I want them to prove that this was always being done here. I think it was a foreign group that did this to me. And when they're naming the people, they are. So it's not like I'm saying, oh, I think they're foreign. No, they are foreign. So what I'm saying is that if there's any sort of foreign government surveilling U.S. citizens, every U.S. citizen should be told. Who makes money off it? How do they make money off it? Well, they've admitted they are criminals, so they steal. And I showed you guys on this on this channel before that there were people who were putting surveillance cameras outside of homes so they knew when to time a break-in. Again, something every American should be told about. If they're using any sort of surveillance that involves electromagnetic, radio waves, lasers, sound lasers, or sonic, Americans should know about this. They were upset with me. I'm going to tell you something else that they were talking about. They were upset with me. They said, it feels like when I'm talking about my life, I'm excluding different groups who aren't Black, female, straight women. Well, that's my whole life. I mean, I don't understand why I would change who I am. That's one of the lies they said about me, that I would change who I am or I wasn't me online. I'm always me online. So I don't get why that would offend them. What I think the real reason it would offend them is because they said they all wanted to sign their names up on my channel, which goes to show this is not about all the other lies they told. It was about trying to steal. And when I caught them and made it so that they couldn't steal, then they came up with a new way of stealing from me, stealing my time, stealing my energy, things breaking, things falling apart. It's all part of it. It's because they feel like if you can't have it, then they feel like they don't want you to have it. You know what I mean? Like, that's a mindset. It's hard for me to put it into words, but it's like, I don't want you to have that, so I'm going to break it. I'm going to destroy it so you can't have it. And that doesn't make any sense to me. The other thing that they're talking about something. I don't know. Now they're talking about something. I don't know what's bothering them now. They said, I'm drinking the rest of my grape nuts and milk. They said, you can't hear our quiet, desperate plea. That's what they just said. I'm just going to mute this for one moment. And then I used to do this where I used to walk to where I hear them louder. I'm going to do that after I finish muting this. Okay, so I'm walking. When I walk, my voice goes. I'm not going to take my cane because my cane will make noise. Mhm. So I'm going to walk some more. My voice is going to go when I stand up and walk, but I won't speak as much. Okay, so this way you can hear more in here. Somebody listening to this live said that, and there's zero in this room, but they said they can hear them still. So what I think is, if you can listen and match how it sounds to other people's recordings, and they do sound alike, then we can figure out where this is coming from. Who has the technology and to use it so that the first level of volume is usually the person, the victim who's recording it. Then the lower level beneath that are the people harassing, and then that sound lower. Somebody can figure it out. It can't be that hard. Once you listen to, there were people who got different technology on YouTube and they put the sounds in, and their sounds couldn't be heard right away. You had to slow it down and change the different, the sounds, and then you could hear words. With this, I'm hearing words right away. So I want to know who has the ability to kind of figure out how the different ways of doing this. Someone said something, how the different ways of doing this works, and how would they just said woodwork works, I think is okay. And that's a new thing. That's their new complaint. They don't like my grammar. This is how it would work. It would be just one thing after another. But what's more important is that if I can just stream this out, because what they were saying is that they expected me to be able to save people. Something really horrible they did to me yesterday, and I'll hear about it. There's a famous thing that happened, and they said they expected me to reach out to that person and say something, as though the person who can't speak grammatically correct to them would have words to say in every situation. I don't. But what I do think is, if we could get professionals, people who are experienced with this technology. There's a really great YouTube channel called Israeli News Live, and he talked about this V2K. And I'll put that in the description of this video. And what I would like is for professionals who know how this works, V2K, to listen to these audios. I'm doing the live streams. You're getting to hear it as it's happening instead of, recording it and then trying to upload it, and the sound will change because of that. I'm hoping the sound will stay the right way. So the thought, the first level of their talking is, why am I not solving everyone's problems? I could barely solve my own. That's why. I can answer that question. The other point about this is that when they're saying that they thought would be a mind game on me, it's no longer a mind game if you do this. It was meant to take over my life, to make it seem that I wouldn't be able to function on my own. The other point about this is, why should a criminal group be able to play mind games on anyone? I want to know the answer to that. Someone just said, it sounded like a woman said, they shouldn't have showed this YouTube channel around as a group thing. They just said they need me to be so stupid as to repeat some of the worst threats. I'm going to walk, I'm going to use my cane. So now I'm going someplace else just for a bit so I can sit here and talk to you. They said they need me to be so stupid as to repeat their threats. This is part of the issue. The issue is if by making this seem like it's schizophrenia, it prevents victims from talking about this and, reporting it. That is a big mind game. That's a huge mind game to get people so afraid that they're going to be called mentally ill for reporting something that's recordable. So when you go online, you can just go right in YouTube search and put V2K gangstalking. And when you put V2K gangstalking, a lot of people's audios come up and you could just listen. So I usually listen, I compare to the sounds that I've recorded, and a lot of them sound alike. Then you also have people who aren't afraid to talk about it, and they do videos and they're saying pretty much the same thing. They're making threats against other people. They're being threatened. So what I was saying in terms of the different layers of this is that I think the reason they record the scripts against me is so they can hide the other layers. Because I'm saying, well, why would they even say these horrible things? But if it's meant to hide the other layers, that makes sense. But the other point I want to say is that I don't usually have to use any technology to hear the other things being said, but maybe that's part of this. Maybe I just realized that a moment ago. Maybe the other things being said, if I put it into software and slow it down or change the volume and make changes, I would hear more. So I just thought of that. Maybe I'm not hearing everything. So, guys, I'm going to keep this live stream on. This way we can figure out what they're doing and how they're doing it.
I want to say hi to the person in the who's watching live.
So guys, that was my battery warning. So I'm going to bring this inside and plug the phone in and keep it going. My phone died anyway, but this let me just resume it. So I'm going to keep it on for a while, and I'll do it as much as possible today. I'll try to come on camera. I hope I will, but I'm going to keep it because as soon as the phone died and they got really loud and they started talking again and making noise, I think it's the best way to kind of figure this out. So I'm still here. This is still live, and I'm just going to leave for a while and I'll be back. So I'm going to end this live stream and I'll come back on. I'm going to come back throughout the day. Thank you for listening.